Starting a business. This is the loudest path and the most worshipped one because it's the one with the best stories attached. Build a product, solve a problem, scale it, sell it, or run it forever. The math is brutal though. The vast majority of businesses don't survive past 5 years, and the ones that do rarely look anything like the plan they started with. Every founder who made it rich pivoted at least once, sometimes 3 or 4 times, before the version that worked even existed. The ones who succeed share one thing. They kept going after the point where quitting made complete sense to everyone watching them. Here's the catch nobody puts on the motivational poster. Starting a business doesn't make you rich. Surviving long enough for it to compound does. Most people quit in year 2, right before the curve usually starts bending upward. Investing in the stock market. This is the slowest path that pretends to be boring and is actually the most reliable one in recorded history. Buy ownership in companies, hold for decades, let compounding do something your salary never could on its own. Warren Buffett built almost all of his fortune after age 50, not because he got smarter at 50, but because he gave compounding 50 extra years to keep working in the background while he lived a completely normal life. The irony is hard to swallow. The path with the least excitement, the fewest headlines, and 0 viral moments has created more millionaires than any other path on this list combined. Patience isn't the boring strategy here. It's the strategy disguised as boring, so almost nobody bothers to copy it. Real estate. Buy something that physically exists, that people will always need a place to live or work, and that can't be copied, deleted, or hacked. Real estate wealth moves slower than tech wealth, but it's far harder to wipe out overnight. A recession can crash a stock portfolio in a week, but a building still stands. The pattern repeats across almost every real estate fortune ever built. Buy one property, let rent slowly pay down the debt, use the equity that builds up to buy a second one. Repeat that for 15 years and it's no longer one property, it's an empire built entirely on patience and other people's rent checks. The trap is leverage. The same debt that builds a real estate fortune is the exact debt that erases it the moment the market turns and the rent stops covering the loan. Crypto and speculation. This is the newest path on this list and by far the most volatile one. A few $100s in the right asset at the right moment, turning into a life-changing sum in months instead of decades. The people who actually got rich here weren't smarter than everyone laughing at them. They were just willing to hold through years of being mocked, called idiots, and told it was a scam, while everyone around them sold the moment it dipped. The uncomfortable math nobody mentions, the same volatility that creates overnight millionaires creates overnight zeros just as easily and just as often. For every story you hear about someone turning $500 into a house, there are 100 quiet stories of people who lost it all that nobody ever posts about. Climbing the corporate ladder. The slowest, least glamorous path on this entire list, and statistically one of the most underrated ways anyone has ever gotten rich. Decades of promotions, raises, equity packages, and stock options that quietly compound in the background while everyone else is busy chasing the next big idea or the next big bet. Tim Cook didn't found Apple. He climbed inside it for over a decade, roll after roll, before becoming one of the wealthiest executives alive on the planet. Nobody makes a 2-hour documentary about a steady 20-year career. There's no dramatic rejection scene, no garage, no almost bankrupt moment. But the data is clear that it's still one of the most repeatable, most boring, and most reliable paths to genuine wealth that exists. Inheriting it, the one path nobody earns and absolutely nobody can copy. A single transfer of wealth from a parent or a grandparent changes the entire trajectory of a life overnight, with 0 of the risk that every other path on this list requires. Here's what almost nobody mentions out loud. A significant share of people who receive large inheritances lose most of it within just a few years of receiving it. Inheriting money and actually keeping money turned out to be 2 completely different skills, and only one of them ever gets taught to the person standing there holding it. Fame and platform building. A single viral moment, one hit song, one breakout video watched by millions, and suddenly there's more money sitting in an account than most people make in a decade of working. But fame and wealth are not the same thing, even though they look identical from the outside. Rihanna didn't actually get rich from music sales. She got rich the exact moment she stopped treating fame as the destination and started treating it as startup capital for something bigger. Most people who go viral never make that switch. They thought the spotlight itself was the income. It was only ever the advertisement for whatever they built next. No dramatic event, no single lucky break, just 30 straight years of spending less than you earn and consistently investing the difference, year after unremarkable year. A study of over 200 millionaires found that this exact profile, not the founder, not the inheritor, was the single most common one in the entire data set. It's the only way to get rich that nobody ever brags about at a dinner party, mostly because by the time it actually works, the person doing it has spent 30 years looking completely, deliberately ordinary. So which path actually works? Here's the part that should genuinely bother you. Every single path on this list has made real people rich, and every single path has also bankrupted other people doing the exact same thing. The business that worked for one founder failed for 10 others using an identical plan. The crypto bet that paid off spectacularly for one person wiped out 100 more who bought at the same price. There is no one correct path sitting at the top of this list. There's only the one you can personally survive long enough to let actually compound. Getting rich was never really about finding the fastest road available. It was always about picking the one road you won't quit on by year 3, back when it's still boring, still unglamorous, and still hasn't paid off a single dollar yet. Which path do you think you're already standing on right now? Drop it in the comments,